Not a matter of if, but when crisis will rock your world. I'm Roshini Rajkumar, crisis strategist, licensed attorney, and host of The Crisis Files. In each case file, we explore modern-day dilemmas with people who create innovative solutions. Do you have kids? Are you a mom who's beamed at them during their weddings, but were challenged with wardrobe for the big day? Allison Kaplan is here to lessen the burden. She is co-founder of Mother Of, an independent media platform that helps mothers of brides and grooms find their groove. Allie is here for the case file I affectionately call Beyond Beige. And Allie, for people who are watching this on YouTube, they'll see I'm wearing some red because I thought for Beyond Beige, I had to get sparkly and bright.
I love this, and I was just going with the wedding theme.
But
I'm just
you know,
in
this
white
it's
today.
very fitting.
Yes.
You got a nice pattern on the pants. So it sounds like this is kind of a crisis for mothers of.
It is. Beige is definitely a crisis. So this really comes out of years of being a style editor and doing a radio show called Shop Girls, where every single week women would call in, and the number one question has always been, my son or daughter just got engaged. I don't know what to wear. What should I wear? Where should I shop? And after answering this question 1,000 times, I thought there is clearly something missing in the retail and fashion world. Nobody is speaking to the moms. Everything in the wedding industry, and really in retail in general, is geared towards the brides, towards the younger shopper, and they're forgetting about this huge demographic, which has a lot of money to spend and a lot of, concerns and sensitivities. And this is a big day for the moms, too.
Yeah, it is a special role. Right?
Yeah.
It's not as important maybe as the bride or groom, but it's a special role on both sides of the aisle, or in many cases, multiple moms, because, whether people are in homes where there are multiple kids, maybe different parents, remarried, those kinds of situations. So
absolutely,
what a marketplace. And I understand that it's a multi-billion-dollar wedding industry, but it's missing this huge customer base.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think weddings are one of those few things that are really recession-proof, People are always going to get married, and they're going to spend money on it, and people spend an outsized amount compared to what they would spend on other occasions, meaning they're going to spend more on a dress for that day. They're going to spend more on travel, and it's not just the ceremony anymore. It's the whole weekend. It's a destination. It's the shower. It's the opening party. It's all these events. And I for the moms, for the mother figures, it's a really big milestone. And I think it comes at a time when a woman is, maybe she's in her 50s, 60s, beyond. There have, for some reason, been just a lot of rules around weddings. You must wear beige. You must fade into the background. There are these
like
beaded...
my red polka dots from today, red with white polka dots wouldn't probably work.
And people get so hung up on this. And if a woman, and you and I know lots of women who are like of this age, but they look great. They look the best they've ever looked. They're working out. They're modern. They don't want to wear a beaded, suit set.
I mean,
that's just not the look anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close to, there are a lot of bad bridesmaids dresses. There are a lot of bad mother of dresses.
Totally.
So another reason I wanted to talk with you about this is because your platform, Mother Of, is pretty revolutionary. So first of all, explain to people who haven't yet been on it, and it's got thousands of followers. I mean, it's really growing both on Instagram, on your website, but it is a digital media platform.
It is. Yes. Thank you for that. So yes, we have a website, which is motherof.co, and that's kind of the home base for us. And there you will find our curated mix of dresses that we are just sourcing from every designer and store out there and saying, hey, these are dresses we think would be good, and here's why. This is great if you're petite. This is great if you're plus size. You're kind of trying to help and give some advice. And then we're telling stories. We're telling stories of real moms, both to give them their moment in the whole wedding process, and also to inspire other women and create community, and building that community for moms where they don't have to feel bad about taking a moment in the spotlight themselves.
It's kind of a Pinterest for this part of life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, we've seen this happening with menopause. We've seen this happening with, I just think Gen X women, as they step into this stage of life, are not going to do it quietly. It's a whole different generation and approach. And we're talking about things that we didn't before. And I think this is a manifestation of that. So we also, of course, show up on TikTok, got to be on TikTok, and on Instagram. And that's where a lot of people are discovering us. But we have an email list. And yeah, it's really just about creating community. And we've now taken that into the next stage, which is real life events.
Because real life is where it happens. And a lot of times in real life, people want to be in person.
Right.
In real.
Well, I mean, talking about the crisis of shopping, stores just don't have the merchandise on hand. And so much of shopping has moved online, and it is convenient. But you know what? Finding a special occasion dress, which is not something most of us buy every day, especially for a wedding, it's an occasion. It's not a transaction. Women want to be with their daughter, with their friends. They want feedback. They want it to feel like a special moment. And we started realizing that, and realizing that stores just aren't filling this need right now. Maybe we can bring women together, give them a huge selection of sizes and dresses, and offer them feedback and create a fun environment. And it's actually it's like a party.
It does sound like a party. So I have to ask, because this is the Crisis Files, how do you make money with Mother Of?
Oh, that's a great question, Roshini. That's the thing that I'm maybe not quite as good at. Telling stories, bringing people together. I love that. So figuring that piece out is for sure the challenge and the opportunity. So on the most basic level, affiliate marketing. That's what we do online, where, we editorially pick all of the dresses, but then we have relationships with some of the brands and retailers where we get a little percentage as affiliate. We do sponsored content. We do, relationships with brands the same way we do in my world in magazines.
Yes.
And then, doing events is kind of the next phase. And, down the road, who knows? There could be product line, there could be other things. But I think Look, I'm a journalist. I'm a career journalist. I'm a storyteller. And so I start with that. I start with the stories and building the audience. And then I think the rest of it falls into place.
Right. And your day job is you are editor-in-chief of Twin Cities Business Magazine.
Yes.
It has both an online and a print presence. And, ultimately, you're a business person. So you want Mother Of to make some money. It makes sense. I also think it's a really interesting model for others of our viewers and listeners who might be doing a platform, some kind of retail space online, or maybe they have a storefront and they want to figure out, how do we take this out there to
Right.
the entire world, not just our city or our community.
Right. I think from a business perspective and an entrepreneurial perspective, we talk about this, with MSP Communications, with my magazine world as well, that we're in the audience business. And, and we are an independent, for Mother Of, we are independent, we are trusted. I think the women who are coming to us know that we have their back, that we want the best. And so if we can deliver that audience, that becomes very valuable to many of the brands that I think I've just missed this demographic completely.
What are some other lessons for businesses out there that want to attract this customer base, women over 50? They've got money to spend, their moms, their grandmas, their neighbors, they're working, they're staying at home, they're retiring.
Yeah.
Every basically noun they are.
Right.
What's
exactly.
your advice from Mother Of for even other businesses out there?
Well, I think number one, don't talk down to them. And don't think that they are the same necessarily as a 20-year-old. They have their own, look and concerns and issues. And when you are marketing to this group, show them what a healthy, dynamic woman of that age looks like. That's what they want to see. And I think that's one of the biggest problems is you see brands have dresses that would work really well for a woman 50, 60, 70, beyond, but they show it modeled on a 20-year-old who's a size 0 and 6 feet tall, and nobody can relate. And so there's just this disconnect happening. And I think it's such an easy fix if you just focus on real women and you listen to what they are saying and asking for.
I love that you say you're in the audience business. That's really a great lesson regardless of who you are, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a leader and have a team. Your team is the audience. Your customers are the audience. That is a really good lesson to remember, regardless of what you're doing in life. So what is it when we think of some of the stories, because ultimately you are a storyteller, what are some of the aha moments or the really special moments you've had since you started this platform?
I mean, so many. It's so gratifying to see women frankly feel seen. I mean, our tagline is "It's your day too." And I have yet to meet, you see a lot of stuff on the morning shows and in the press about, oh, this mom dared to wear a strapless dress and tried to outshine the bride. Give me a break.
No mom is doing that.
The mom is not. She could look amazing, drop dead gorgeous. She's still not outshining the bride, okay? Nobody needs to worry about the brides. And I have yet to meet the bride who feels that way. Every bride I talk to, they just want their moms to feel beautiful.
Right.
They love their moms. They're inspired by their moms, and they want their mom to feel amazing on this day too. It's a milestone for the whole family.
Right. Although I will say, not that she tried to, but I will say if there is a mother who outshone the bride, it was my mother.
No, seriously?
But I mean, so we did an interesting thing in that I did not wear white or beige or cream or pink.
Yeah.
I got married in my 40s, so later in life. And the theme colors for the event, but especially the bridal party, navy and coral. Navy and coral. I sometimes say salmon, but really navy and coral.
Sure.
So anyone that was going to wear a suit, we said no ties, but wear a navy suit. That was guests as well as the wedding party. And then for the women who stood up with me, my brother was my man of honor. The women who stood up with me, I said, just pick a color in that navy coral. One of them went with fuchsia, which still worked. Yeah. So, and just on their own, the three of them and then my wedding MC, they all sort of chose, it worked, but they were all different kinds of dresses. And then my mom did go with navy and coral. She had a great combo, but I mean, she looked amazing. Yeah. So I am okay with that. She did outshine me on my wedding day.
Oh,
I looked good. But
I'm sure you looked good.
And those out there who are listening and know my mother are not going to be stunned by that.
Yeah, I can do you one better than looking great. My mother, who also looked great at my wedding a million years ago, at the reception, she sang "Makin' Whoopee" to me and my husband. Yeah, that's right.
And I mean, she has a lovely voice.
She does.
Was it a little freaky though?
A little bit. Yeah.
She didn't end with like, now go make me a grandchild at the end?
No, but just one step short of that, I
mean, that song kind of says it all. Oh my gosh. All right. So what are some no-nos? I mean, as long as we have you here and in your past, you've been a style and fashion editor and writer. What are some no-nos for, start with women, but I do want to give some love to the men too. Any generation. Let's start with 30s. What's a no-no right now for
special occasion?
Or just a no-no in general. I mean, we got a lot of who watch us and listen to the Crisis Files who are business people. What's your take on cleavage? Because I'm seeing cleavage in the workplace. Let's just start with that. That's my pet peeve.
Okay.
I'm seeing it. What's your take?
I would say be careful. I mean, I would say no in the workplace. And I would say beyond that, still, in good judgment.
And I'm specifically talking about women here.
There is some really excellent tape that you can use to make sure that things don't slip. I would be careful of that. Yes.
Get that too.
Yes, right.
All right. Bare arms for women has really become a thing. I mean, for at least a decade now. But in my past life as a TV reporter, it was just a no-no for at least half, if not more, of my TV career. But it's now everywhere on TV.
Certainly women over 50 are super sensitive about their arms. And most of them don't need to be. But it is amazing what a pain point that is for women. And they think they want to cover up. What I've loved seeing when we've had our events is women say, oh, I've got to have long sleeves. I've got to be completely covered up. And then I'm like, just try on this halter style. Just try it on. And then they can't believe how amazing they look. So I think a little bit we have to just embrace our age and stage, and it's all kind of how you present yourself. As far as in the workplace, I think bare arms are out there.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
They're out there, and they're not gonna get covered up again.
No.
Timelessness for men. What will always work for men in the workplace?
A sharp suit. I was at an event this week that was all about private equity. And as you can imagine, I was one of very few women in that room. Kind of shocking, really.
It's sad
it's
that it's
mostly
still
men.
shocking.
But wow, just to see a ballroom of 200 and it's like, 90% men. But what was really interesting was I was thinking, I'm really glad I'm not in the necktie business. Not a tie in sight. They were all in a blue suit.
And then nice
blue
shirts.
suit, white shirt, crisp white shirt. They look great, but open neck.
What I say to my executive men clients is I like to get color on their face. So especially when they're on TV or on a stage, I say get away from the white shirt. I like that ice purple, the ice pink, and ice lime. So it's like an almost not there, but the color is still there, and it helps light your face. A French blue shirt looks good on both men and women.
Yeah, and I mean maybe not for TV, but I think a little pattern if you're not, if you're not wearing a tie too, it adds a little, pizzazz.
And we see a little
to it.
neck, and we see pattern, and it's nice.
But I will say, I think having that sport coat or blazer as opposed to just a shirt and tie, it looks sharper, it looks pulled together. You don't really need the necktie.
Yeah, you really don't. I think that's a trend, the loss of the necktie in most spaces is a trend men will love.
Yes.
What about
Not at weddings, though.
Yeah, not at weddings. So weddings, you got to have the tie.
Still need
so
the tie.
what about what's timeless for men at weddings? Father of the groom or bride, guest of.
I would say we see a lot of photos of a lot of weddings, more suits than tuxedos these days. Even in, fairly dressy weddings, I think there is and I think a lot of men, especially if they're having groomsmen and everyone has to go out and they'd rather spend the money towards a suit
that they can
than
use again.
Renting a tuxedo.
Yeah, I think the rental of tux is
yeah.
I don't even know. It would be interesting business story. How many of those places are even left?
Well, David's Bridal just added one. They're adding.
Really?
Yes, they're adding a tux service. They want to, expand. They're going upscale now. They're going up market. They're adding more designer brands, which will be really interesting to see.
So beyond weddings, so special events.
Yeah, but just if they can retrain a more upscale customer to come to David's Bridal and get men to come there too, it'll be really interesting to see.
Wow. Well, as always, you are ahead of the curve teaching us these things. Thank you, Allie, for illuminating what could be.
Thank you.
Lots of different audiences today. Find Allie on Instagram at Allie Shops. Find Mother of on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and motherof.co. Today's case file is powered by Northwing Digital. Northwing Digital is driven by a simple mission: help businesses succeed. Guided by core values, trust through transparency, and GSD, get stuff done. Northwing specializes in SEO and paid digital ads that deliver measurable results. From Google search to paid social, strategies that help your business stand out and grow. Make your marketing dollars work harder. Visit northwingdigital.com to get started. Northwing Digital, your partner in growth. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram at The Crisis Files. Rate, review, and subscribe to The Crisis Files on your platform of choice. Visit thecrisisfiles.com for all 3 seasons of the show. I'm Roshini Rajkumar. Join me next time on The Crisis Files.